Alright, it is the 3rd of March 2017. Today is the launch of Nintendo Switch. Didn't get the Nintendo Switch. Didn't really see the point in even thinking about getting the Nintendo Switch. I was kind of excited when they announced everything that came out with it, but I thought, Mario's not until Christmas? I mean, what else is there at launch apart from Zelda, Breath of the Wild? Not much else is the answer. And I know that people have been saying there's other stuff coming out with it. There's independent games that are apparently very good, but to me, it just wasn't really enough there. But I still wanted to play this new Zelda game, which I feel like I've been waiting for years. I just didn't know it really. I've been a huge Zelda fan for about 20 years now, I guess, since the Ocarina of Time came out for the Nintendo 64 in the late 90s, and ever since then I've been a huge fan. Like Wind Waker is another one of my favorite games. I mean, Ocarina of Time is like right at the top, like top 5 favorite games ever, if not top 3 or 2. And then Twilight Princess, I enjoyed that a lot, not as much as the others. And then Skyward Sword came out in 2011, and I bought that, played it for a couple of hours, and I never got back to it. What bothered me with that game was that you had to do the motion controls and stuff, and while it was cool and fun and kind of novel, there wasn't a way to play it without doing that, and I kind of just stopped playing. So I really need to go back and play that sometime. I have it here actually, so I could have done that in the build up to this, but I wasn't really ready for this Zelda game until all the hype started rolling out. I mean, the trailers look great, and I just thought, well, I'm not going to get a Nintendo Switch immediately, so I'll have to wait a year or two until I get to play this Zelda game, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. I feel like I should wait for the better version on the Switch. I've kind of read into it, and apparently there's not really that much difference at all between the Wii U and the Switch, except for the fact that the Wii U version only runs at 720p. And when I read that, I was like, ooh, that doesn't sound like the best thing, but it probably won't be that much of a noticeable difference. And apparently there are some frame rate issues in both versions, so I felt like, ooh, maybe I should get it for the Wii U. And then I thought, no, do you know what? I'll wait. I'll wait till it goes down in price, even though Nintendo games never go down in price. And then the hype train got me. It hit me dead on. Like this week, 10 out of 10 across the board. 10 out of 10. I'm like, oh, maybe I should get it. And then Masterpiece, instant classic, and I'm like, oh, maybe I should get it. And then my friend was getting it and was raving about it, and I was like, so I went and got it. And I had quite a mission to get this because I went to town and it was sold out everywhere. And the funny thing is, the Wii U version sold out, sold out, sold out. The Switch version available in every shop, piles of them stacked behind the counter, and I'm thinking, I guess a lot of people weren't ready to kind of jump into the Switch immediately, but they still want to play the new Zelda game. So obviously I wasn't the only person who had this idea, and it was kind of gutting because I thought I wasn't going to get to play it on launch day, which I was kind of getting excited about. And again, I'll totally hold my hands up. I got pulled in by that hype train. The hype was real, and it suckered me in. But I'm really excited about this. It looks like a Zelda game like no other. I mean, it looks and feels, from what I've seen from like gameplay videos and stuff, like Zelda, but different, and it has kind of an open world theme to it that we have had kind of before in other Zelda games, but not quite to this degree, I suppose. It just seems like there's a lot more you can do in this open world, and it's a lot bigger and things like that. And you can literally play the game at your own pace and do kind of in any order that you like. Apparently you can beat the game in like 5 minutes or something, or you can just go straight to the end boss if you want, which is crazy. But yeah, so I couldn't find the game anywhere, and I went all over, went into the city, went way over to this other place that had more shops and stuff. And this one shop had it, and I mean, the guy pulled it out of a box in the corner of behind the counter. It wasn't on display anywhere. It was a good thing I asked, really. And I was getting really tetchy about asking for this game because I'd had about 6 or 7 different shops tell me it's sold out. And it seemed like the more shops I went to, the more smug they got about it, like, sold out. Big grin on their face, laughing to each other. You mean you didn't pre-order? And it's just like, whew. I just came into a shop to buy a game. What's the sin in that? People give me these smug responses, and then finally this guy said, I don't know. He goes and looks and he finds one in the box. So I did get it, and even he said I have to borrow my brother's Wii U to play this. So I was like, yeah, I didn't want to buy the full Switch console, and he's like, yeah, me too. So that seems to be a general theme. Not a lot of people are diving in for the Switch immediately, but here it is. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Cannot wait to crack into this. I feel like it's about time that I just kind of went in on launch with a new Zelda title. I mean, these games are so special. They only come around, these main kind of console ones only come around like 2 or 3 times a decade, if that. I mean, you know, they really is spaced out, and I hope that it's worth the wait. And I can't wait to open this up and have a look at the manual and learn about all the characters and the story and how to play the game, the instructions, all that kind of stuff. That's going to be really cool, and always something that I savoured even as a kid, getting games for my birthday and like taking the manual into school to read about it before I'd get to play it when I got home. And that's always like an important part of the puzzle, is getting that manual. Nintendo eShop. Software instruction manual. Well, no manual then. I hate that. I hate this thing of no manuals anymore. Ugh. I just love those old days of getting a nice thick booklet that tells you about the characters and the world and everything. But I guess you've got the internet for that these days. But yeah, all seriousness, I'm really looking forward to this. And unfortunately, I can't stream it like I do with any new game I get for the PS4, because Nintendo seems to be always one step ahead, 2 steps behind of everyone else. And so the Wii U and even the Switch doesn't have the capability to stream in console. So the only way you could do it is if you had all this specialist equipment, which I don't have. Whereas a PS4, click of a button, you're streaming online, you can share the experience with other people, but won't be able to do that in this case. And I kind of wonder if this is going to make it even more special, that I can just focus on it myself and not be kind of talking over what I'm doing and chatting to people while I play. As fun as that is, maybe this will make the experience even more cool. I don't know. But I can't really share much more than me just talking about what it's like to play the game. So I'm going to start the game, have a play around, see what I think, and then kind of give you my first initial thoughts. That's all this video is going to be, really. Can't wait to dive into the world of The Legend of Zelda once again. It's one of those things that I love, from the storylines to the music, and this one just looks stunning. And I'm, again, really excited about it. So without any further ado, let's get cracking. Alright, I got the Wii U set up, ready to go. Hadn't used it in a while, so I had to kind of put the HDMI in, dig out the gamepad, plug it in, charge it, all that stuff. And I'm now waiting for the game to install. Still waiting. That's the thing that bugs me about games today, is that you can't just buy a game, stick it in the console, pick up the controller and start playing. You have to jump through so many hoops and download like 20 gigabyte worth of updates just to get the latest version, otherwise you can't use it. And oh, still going. Still installing. It's the longest 7 minutes ever. At first I thought these were seconds. Obviously they're minutes, but now I'm wondering whether it's hours. Come on, 6! 6! 6! Yes! Okay, still got 6 minutes. Wait, what? Oh, come on! You gotta be kidding me. There's a troll inside my Wii U. It's gone back up to 7. What in the... God. That noise is doing my head in. Oh my god, I don't feel like Nintendo understands what a minute is. Like, is it different over there in Japan or something? Just tell me it's going to be 15 minutes. Don't give me this, oh, it's only going to be 8 minutes bullshit, and then it just... each minute lasts about 6 minutes. And that noise, that... Day 27 in the Big Brother house. Luke is still waiting for his game to load. Like, seriously, I've been sat here now for for about 45 minutes or something. Like it's ridiculous. And I'm not gonna be able to start playing the game yet because very shortly, Connie will be arriving home and giving me a much needed haircut. And then we're going out, so I'm not even gonna get to play this thing on release because it was sold out everywhere. It's still... Oh, time remaining under 1 minute, it tells us. Under 1 minute. Should we see if this really is under 1 minute? What, like 55 seconds now? 54, 53, 52, 51, 50. I'll edit this. 49, 48, 47, 46, 45, 44, 43, 42, 41, 39, 38, 37, 36, 35, 34, 33, 32, 31, 32, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay, it was pretty much dead on a minute. I will eat my words. Ooh. Are we good to go? Cool. It's almost cinematic. Oh, voice acting. Alright, well, I'm going to enjoy this, so I'll see you on the other side. New Zelda.
Wake up, Link.
Well, this is just the trailer. Okay, so it's the morning after the night before. I got to play the game for about 5 minutes, and then I had to have my hair cut. As you can see, I had a haircut. Had to have dinner. Had to then go out. Went out, had a very nice evening, and then came back around, I think, 1:45. So last night at about 1 o'clock in the morning, I sat down and played a couple of hours, finally, of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And initial thoughts, and this video has been all over the place, much like my experience with, trying to get started playing this after, from going to trying to find the game itself in the shops to it taking so long to install and other stuff coming up along the way that I couldn't play it properly on launch day. Either way, regardless of all that stuff, what did I think of the game? My initial impressions, I suppose. I mean, I can't give a full opinion on it because I've only just started it, and it is huge. It is massive. I just unlocked the first piece of the map, and it really gives me a scope of how massive this game is, how huge it is. There's just clearly so much you can do in this game, and I've only just scratched the surface. Played it for 2-3 hours. It's stunning. The game looks gorgeous. I mean, if you get close, you can kind of see the textures aren't as clean and crisp as, say, a game that has visuals like Uncharted 4 or The Last of Us, but it fits within the kind of cel-shaded graphical style of this game, which to me seems like a really nice mix between something like the style of the Ocarina of Time blended slightly with the style of the Wind Waker. And obviously in a kind of a 2017 looking game, at least for Nintendo standards anyway. And I found that on the Wii U, it runs great. There's a couple of frame drops, like it starts to slow down a little bit here and there, but it's really nothing that really bothers me too much. I know a lot of people on the internet complaining about the frame rate issues. Haven't really encountered many that have even bothered me at all. And the gameplay is fun, and it feels like Zelda. Like, you do the targeting, and you can jump backwards, do the backflip, do the jumping slash. It has all that stuff, the spin attack with the sword, but it has these different things to it as well. And what I think is the most promising about this game is that it feels like an adult version of a Zelda game. And by that I mean, the main reason I thought of that was when you run around kind of the main part of the game. I suppose the whole game is this big open world, but in the Ocarina of Time, which is, for me, the gold standard of Zelda games, and I'm not quite sure if this will end up topping it for me personally. A lot of people have already said this is the best Zelda game, but I can't judge just yet. But the thing that made me think about that was in the big open field, the Hyrule Plain in the Ocarina of Time. When you're running across that, it has this kind of peppy kind of overworld theme, and it's and that's just so nostalgic for me. This doesn't have that. And at first I thought, oh, this feels a bit empty, there's no music when you're out and about, but the thing is, in this game, you're always going to be out and about. The whole game is this open world sandbox to kind of explore, so it would get a bit weird if there was music all the time, but there are these moments where you come to these certain key locations and just a little bit of piano will start playing in, and it's so atmospheric and simple and subtle. Like, I just love the way that they did the music so far. I mean, again, I've only just scratched the surface. There's so much more to even think about, you know, rather than even explore. And I love that it has that kind of, and it's pushing me in the right direction at the moment with the story, but it's still very scant. And I thought I'd be bothered by that as well, that the story is minimal when it comes to exploring this open world at your own pace. But I'm enjoying it at the minute, and I really, I'm really impressed by this game. And I feel like I could get lost in it forever. Like, I just spent like a good 45 minutes just walking around looking at stuff and just kind of admiring the view. And I've now got to the point where it's got like a day and night cycle. I mean, I kind of was trying to fight these little camps of moblins, these little kind of creatures that you fight, and kind of you can loot the stuff that they have, take their weapons and food, and you can cook food and stuff. Like, it's really, like, I like the detail. You can cut trees down, which is incredible. That's all this stuff, like, you can climb up anything. The first thing I did was I climbed up to the very top of the Temple of Time, and that to me was like a big adventure almost, and it was right at the beginning, and it was just this, yeah, just stunning game so far. If the promise that the first couple of hours have given me for the rest of the game ends up coming to fruition, then this is going to be a really special one. I really wish I could stream it, 'cause it'd be a really fun one to share the experience with, but at the same time, I kind of enjoyed sitting there in the dark, in the middle of the night, just sitting there and playing a new Zelda game. It was pretty cool. So that's my initial thoughts on Breath of the Wild, and I'll probably do a review of it maybe in a few weeks. I don't know, it depends how long it takes me to complete it. I certainly don't want to rush it. I want to take my time and kind of get the most out of it, and it certainly takes me back to some of those gaming experiences of my youth with games like Ocarina of Time and the Wind Waker, which had more of an open world theme to it as well. But I mean, I've only met one character so far, and I'm just it just feels like Luke Skywalker looking off into the twin sunset. Like, there's so much more to come, and I just don't know what it's going to be. You know, I've only been in this one small area, and I spent a few hours there, and that to me is almost like so much going on. But you can look as far as the eye can see, and there's just so much, and it's exciting, it's cool, and I think this will be the one that kind of, you know, I didn't really play through Skyward Sword in its entirety, so I can't really comment, but you know, from game to game, ever since Ocarina of Time, it kind of has followed the same mold. This seems to be taking a leap forward, unlike any of the other main kind of console Zelda games that we've had over the past, you know, 15 years or so. And that's cool and exciting and fresh, I feel like, too. A lot of people making Skyrim comparisons. I haven't played that game or anything really like this. The only open world games I've really played are things like GTA and Red Dead Redemption, so that's all I can really compare it to. And I suppose, again, the Wind Waker was an open world game, but anyway, enough rambling. That's my initial thoughts of Breath of the Wild so far. It would be pointless to kind of keep updating you as I go along, I think, unless people really want to hear me kind of talk about the journey as I go along. I could do a little series out of it, but otherwise I'll just do a big review of it when I finish the game and give my overall thoughts. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this very slapdash, shoddily put together video, and I'll see you in the next one.
It's alright by me. Apart from the fact he throws cans and calling into a tree. Yeah, he's really cool. Yeah, he's really cool. But he's not quite as cool as you.